to the world. For help man to build up a country. Jiggy jiggy and march, march. But make we dance with it now. Come make we march, all Jamaicans. We are one big family. Time come for deliverance, so make we march in unity. Whether PNP or labor rights, our God loves all of we. We are marching on to progress. Jam down and be all of we. Well, on behalf of all Jamaicans, I just want to say thank you to the world for helping us to build up a country. Jiggy jiggy and march, march. But make we dance with it now. Come make we march, all Jamaicans. We are one big family. Time come for deliverance, so make we march in unity. Whether PNP or labor rights, our God loves all of we. We are marching on to progress. Jam down and be all of we. Everything Melissa broke down, we are gonna build back. We are gonna build back better than before. Every house we broke down, we are gonna build back. 'Cause our God have blessings in store. Time come to rebuild together. 'Cause Jamaica is our home. We are stepping out the darkness into the light. We're gonna build stronger roof and doors.
Good morning, Libra Roots. And good morning to all other comebacks watching this channel. Welcome to another episode of Political Hard Talk. I am your host, none other than the greatest Labourite alive. Good morning, my people. Good morning. Visual check, audio check. Want to tell me if you not hear me. Tell me if you not see me clearly. As we usually have signal problems on Sundays, me don't know why. See, so don't tell me if you not see me. Tell me if you not hear me. So I am going to play a documentary this morning of Cuba. So we are kind of segueing a little bit away from Jamaican politics this morning, although it ties in, right? I am going to let you guys listen to the reality that could have hit Jamaica, see, because of one man's ideology. He almost wrecked Jamaica, and because of one man's ideology and his family's ideology, they have wrecked Cuba. See, so we talked about it yesterday a little bit, and I was thinking, you know, it is good to let my audience hear what is really going on in Cuba. See, so we're going to play that. Let's roll out the morning shout outs and let's get right into it, my people. So Annette, good morning. Dan Rowe, good morning. Mark Nemad, big up yourself. June, Beverly Clark, Orlando, big up yourself. Anterific, big up yourself. Sylvan, big up yourself. Henley, big up yourself. Larry, Marcia Allen, big up yourself. PB, big up yourself. Good morning. See, so we're going to play from YouTube, my people. So me I borrow some material from YouTube, so you might hear one ads or two rolling there. See, so let's go.
Cuba, island of freedom or island of problems. With each passing year, life here gets harder. Inflation, shortages, slums, poverty-level wages, and regular power outages. This is the daily reality for most Cubans. To understand what life is really like for ordinary Cubans and why this is one of the poorest countries in Latin America, I traveled to Havana and other cities across the island. Destruction, disarray, and crushing poverty. That's the first thing that hits you in Cuba. And against the backdrop of this social disaster, cheerful tourists wander the streets as if they've come to a zoo to look at the old cars, get drunk on cheap rum, and smoke tragedies of the so-called Island of Freedom. Nearly 70 years after the revolution, Cuba still hasn't become truly free or truly happy. People live in poverty and ruin, and the only real hope for a decent life is to escape to the United States. So, is life in Cuba really that bad? Yes. As you know, I've been to many countries around the world, and I can say this with certainty. Today, Cuba is one of them. Of course, if you look at official rankings, you probably won't find Cuba at the bottom of the list, but that's because the statistics are distorted or simply don't exist at all. For example, which exchange rate should you use to calculate wages or the cost of a basic consumer basket? Do you use the official exchange rate or the black market rate, which is 10 times higher? But if you go by what a traveler actually sees, then yes, things in Cuba are truly bleak and getting worse every year. Shortages of goods and medicine, miserable wages, crumbling apartments. Today we're going to take a closer look at all of it. A lovely little dump right in the heart of Havana. Let's even look at the map. Look. This is literally the very center of Havana. Just a few steps from the Capitol building. And yet, this is the sad reality. And obviously, it's not just here. So yeah, this is what Biden has done to Cuba. It's not just the streets that feel dangerous. Buildings themselves are falling apart. Behind the beautiful colonial facades hide real slums. To understand how people actually live here, I met a local. His name is Pablo. Pablo's home is shared by him and his 5 kids. It used to be an old mansion with high ceilings, but now new makeshift floors have been added. They built a second level for Pablo's children. Still, even with the extra space, it's incredibly cramped. The whole family basically sleeps in the kitchen. Just to point out, it's really hot in here. There's no proper sunlight, no ventilation. It's really stuffy and humid. Honestly, I can't imagine how anyone can sleep in this heat. And on top of that, it's damp. There's standing water right here and no real airflow. The humidity is awful, and yet this is where this whole family lives. So this is what this communal living looks like. It's an old courtyard. And as is often the case, if you're looking from the outside, you see these grand historic facades, but inside, it's total decay. Is much sadder. The building has been divided into lots of tiny rooms, kind of like hotels. People live in each of these little cubicles. Technically, it's not exactly a communal apartment in the traditional sense, because in a real communal flat, everyday life was shared. A shared kitchen, a shared toilet, which often led to constant conflicts. Here, it actually looks more like tiny hotel rooms. But of course, the living conditions people endure are just terrible. Some kind of tanks or what it is and how it reaches upstairs is a total mystery. It looks like everything there has already caved in. You see, the buildings here are falling apart. There are some ropes hanging. Someone's doing their workout. And the toilet over there looks clearly out of order. Oh, look, up here. Even penthouses. So yeah, anyone who wants to stock up on water makes their own tanks. Our water supply is individual. Man, this is just terrible decay right here. Everything is in such terrible condition that it's hard to imagine how people live here. Because all this, these are living cubicles. People live here. And here, behind these grates, people live too. So this
Big up yourself, Bertie, Caitlin, Melody, Charlene, Tanya, big up yourself, Devon Rumber, big up yourself. We are listening to the reality in Cuba. Saying so, it is shot in Cuban. So there's a voiceover over hitting the people. So if you not hear one next little nyanga in the back, it is because it is shot in Cuban, but you know. Somebody's voicing over it, the people. See?
is basically what they call the slums here, the slums, the favelas, or whatever you want to call them. It's true. On one hand, yes, the local Cubans will tell you it's not like in other Latin American countries that here things are somehow better, cleaner. But honestly, no, these are just ordinary slums. I mean, yes, these are slums, but they're not made up of shacks cobbled together from junk and sticks on some mountainside. These slums simply exist inside what used to be luxurious mansions. The thing is, there's nothing left of those mansions. All the decorations, moldings, everything else, it's all destroyed. Everything is in very very bad shape. It's all been changed and added to, and while some remnants of former luxury may still be visible on the facades, when inside you wouldn't even realize that these were once very wealthy homes. People actually live in terrible conditions. There's no proper sewage system, no running water, no stable electricity. Everything is ruined, covered in mold. People live packed together in very tight rooms. This is what it all looks like. This is how they live.
This could have been the reality of Jamaica with this socialism business. This could have been the reality of Jamaica. We'll continue to listen to people.
Here's how the water is supplied. Pipes run through a broken down door. This used to be a wealthy house. You can tell that by the old brass doorknobs and the mosaic on the floor. There are even beautiful marble columns here.
This was built in the 18th century, back when Cuba was a Spanish colony. Look, there are signs here showing it was built in the 18th century. This place once belonged to a count. Up there were his rooms, and now it's us living here. Is this your first time in Cuba?
No, it's his.
Edward Siaga save us from the reality of my people. Edward Siaga save us from this reality. If CIA did involve, thank God, they save us, they save Jamaica from this reality, because this is where Jamaica would have ended up, because Michael Manley never run the economy, and that alone would have crashed the country. Members, I'm telling you, and it probably would have worse than this.
Second time.
So you're already Cubans. You should already feel like Cubans. We are Cubans. We may be poor materially, but we're rich in spirit.
If you won the lottery right now, I don't know, like $10,000. What would you spend it on? What do you need money for right now?
That would be a godsend. That would be like seeing God. With that money, I'd fix up my whole house, my place. Just look at my house. Look at my TV. I would buy a modern TV. I would buy a new stove, a new iron. I would repair my house, my bedroom, and I would eat nice food well every day.
You see? Man not saying want buy no mansion and buy no car. Basic necessities the man want win a lot of a buy. That would have been the reality in Jamaica had we not gotten rid of Michael Manley when we did. Remember, me tell you.
Would eat steak. I do not eat lobster, but I would have it sometimes. If I had 10,000, I would eat lobster. Today, we will eat regular food, but with that money, I would eat steak, I would buy seafood and throw a feast for myself and my wife. But with my 3,000 pesos, I just cannot do that.
Of course, tourists who've been to the island will probably object, saying Cuba is a real paradise. Beaches, hotels, rum flowing like water. And Havana is the pearl of the Caribbean with architecture worth admiring. To be fair, all that does exist on the island, but that only makes the contrast sharper between the tourist Cuba for foreigners and the people who live here and have to survive. We are at Hotel Nacional. The photos here are a little different now. Fidel's quotes hang on the walls to inspire the guests. And it is, of course, remarkable how all of this coexists with such luxury. On one hand, you've got this classic bloated capitalist luxury. On the other, Fidel's quotes. Here you can see who used to stay at this hotel. Walt Disney, Frank Sinatra, Lola Flores, Winston Churchill, and apparently they even note which rooms they stayed in, Marlon Brando. Even guests at these prestigious hotels will probably notice that something feels off with Cuba. For example, I stayed at a nice hotel, not one of the cheapest. I was quite surprised to discover that the hotel restaurant did not serve basic fruits and vegetables. Turns out, on a tropical island, there's a shortage of tomatoes, raspberries, and other foods we usually take for granted. If only the shortages in Cuba were limited to fruits and vegetables, everything is either very expensive, or you have to wait in line, or it's simply unavailable. There are 3 types of stores in Cuba. First, the most basic ones where you can use ration cards. Usually there's nothing interesting there. Then there are stores where products are sold for pesos. So if you get paid in pesos or have exchanged some dollars and have pesos, you can come and buy whatever you need. But there's also a third type of store. You could call them currency stores. But they're tricky. So the currency doesn't end up in the hands of ordinary Cubans. The government came up with a system of special cards. You go to the bank, deposit dollars or euros, any normal currency, into a special account, and they give you a card, which you then use to shop at these stores. The cashiers and owners of the shops never actually handle the dollars. But if you work in tourism or your relatives sent you a money transfer, you put that money into the account, get the special card, and shop with it. Recently, there have even been reports that the Cuban authorities are finally planning to allow store owners to accept cash dollars. A detailed tour of Cuban stores was given to me by the guide Nadezhda.
This is a store where everything is sold only with a card called MLC,
You mean if someone has deposited foreign currency onto it for you?
which you can only deposit here in Cuba at the bank.
Got it. So this is a kind of currency store for locals?
With this card, you can shop here.
Let's cover the number, right?
Yes, it should say MLC on the card.
What's the name of the bank?
Banco Metropolitano. All our banks are Metropolitano.
So it's basically a bank card where you deposit dollars through an ATM.
Yes.
And only dollars? Only foreign currency?
Yes, only foreign currency.
So basically, inside the country, you're paying with foreign currency.
Yes, but only in these small and not very exciting shops. And you can also pay with your card here.
Okay, I've got it. What can we buy here?
This is the question. What can you actually buy here?
Let's see. Sausages, ham, emptiness. You can buy emptiness. You can buy canned peaches or peppers. Alcohol, all kinds. You can buy shivas. The prices are in dollars here, by the way, US dollars, right?
Yes, in dollars.
So dollars, yeah. A small bottle of Chivas 12 is $26, a large one is $50. Tequila Omega, 700 milliliters, 26. Wine, this one, Rioja Campo Viejo, I think, or whatever it's called, $15 or $50. Havana Club, a large bottle, goes for $18. A small one, or is it medium, $15. That's the Reserva. The 7-year one is $22 and $27, again, depending on size of the bottle. The second type of store is easy to recognize by the long lines. These are the shops that sell goods and food with ration cards issued by the Cuban government. You can save money there, prices are noticeably lower. And the shelves go empty fast. Yes, the government gives the working people the opportunity to buy basic goods at very low prices.
No, me just want to say to Henley. Henley say, I am confident that under the leadership of Dr. Holness, Jamaica and CARICOM will come up with a workable solution in tandem with our U.S. counterpart to restore the dignity of the Cuban people. Now, if the leadership of Cuba don't see that something is wrong and they need to fix it, Henley, it is not Andrew Holness or CARICOM business for start at all. Jamaica was once a beggar, walking through the world begging on our knees. When I time even Trinidad have it this way. So we beg too much. See? And what we did? We have a leader in Bruce Golding who wanted to restore our dignity and set out in doing so. And it carried over into Andrew Holness, who is completing that work. In the 80s, Edward Seaga got to restore the dignity of the Jamaican people. See? And as soon as the PNP came back to power, they wrecked that. See? We must keep them as far away from power as possible. I say that every day. But it is for the Cuban people to see that something is wrong and to rectify it. We can't help them if they can't help themselves. That's it. See?
Yes, the government gives the working people the opportunity to buy basic goods at very low prices. There's a network of special stores for that. The problem is you can't actually buy anything there. It seems like since the revolution, no one has put any real... Yes, the government gives the...
I watch for YouTube, so sometimes ads are going to jump in. People. Cool Cat say, what is your opinion? Do you think United States should take over at Cuba and make it democracy? And that the people have freedom to live prosperity? What is your opinion? No, they should not take over Cuba. The United States should not take over Cuba. However, they should release some of the sanctions off them, and the Cuban government should come to the table and sort out whatever issue there is. See?
Working people the opportunity to buy basic goods at very low prices. There's a network of special stores for that. The problem is you can't actually buy anything there. It seems like since the revolution, no one has put any real effort or money into them. The chalkboard showing available products and how much each person can get.
Here in this neighborhood,
The elder them they buy and remember the 70s? And that happened to Cuban people them today in 2026.
once a month, they sell guaranteed goods by ration card.
What exactly?
Rice.
Can we ask people?
Sure.
This is where people use their ration cards?
Yes, ration cards. But there's basically nothing available. Come here. I'll ask if we can go in. She has a card, she gives it to him, and he marks it.
Do they even give cigars here?
Yes.
So they give cigars by card?
They do not. They sell.
Right.
Don't be mistaken. Yes, the price is a bit lower than in the dollar stores, but no one's ever been given anything here. It's always sold, just very cheaply. Look, here's the chart of what's arrived this month. And here's what actually came in. Right now, he's picking up the bag. Look, rice, brown sugar, and children's fruit compote. That's it. We haven't had eggs or anything else for a long time.
And he just scoops the rice into a plastic bag?
Yes, and we can see how much per person. 7 pounds. That's about 3.5 kilos.
3 kilos per month per person?
Yes, and even this is not always available.
So here's another store where food is distributed by ration cards. And yeah, the prices are kind of ridiculous. Alcohol at 7 pesos per liter.
By the way, my people, you see him PNP we tell us America for my name business. See, I see him PNP go tell us them a come raid. I see him PNP also go tell us Andrew Holness a thief and America for come lock him up. you can't with them. See?
That's about 2 cents, or how much? Yeah, it's basically almost for free. Rice is 6 or 10 pesos per pound. Eggs are 25. So overall, everything they give out here is practically free. The problem is there's nothing available. You show up with your ration cards. Let's say you're a government worker living off a modest salary. You come with your ration cards, but there's nothing available from what's listed. Usually they'll give you some rice, not much, some eggs, but not as many as you're supposed to get because there's just nothing. So you have to cut back on your diet a little. Local resident Natalia told me more about the ration card system.
The ration system
Good morning, Dahlia. Good morning to my beautiful mother-in-law. Mama Marcia, good morning as well.
in Cuba was truly a great help during the special period in the
Morning, Mama Sonia.
1990s. I arrived here right in that special period. It was impossible to buy food openly, so the ration system gave every resident of the country the same basic set of food products. These food supplies have been decreasing in quantity every year. And at this point, they don't even last a week. Just so you understand, I live alone, and I get 10 eggs per month. That means, how many days can I have one boiled or fried egg for breakfast? 10 days. And everything else is like that. What do they give? Rice, beans, white sugar, brown sugar, half a liter of sunflower oil. And that's the only type of fat. No sour cream, no cheese, no yogurt, no cottage cheese. None of that exists.
The third type of store is commercial. There you can pay in Cuban pesos. This is a private shop?
Yes, take a look.
Oh, there's a selection here.
Yes, but it's small. After we had the food crisis, and after the protest on July 11th, 2021, which was also connected to hunger, the government decided to open up a bit of free commerce. What you see here is one of the typical small shops nowadays, run by a MIPYMIS. What is MIPYMIS? It's the private market, which is now allowed to import containers from abroad. Of course, under supervision, they pay taxes to the state and have their own license. Everything is brought in from abroad because nothing is produced here. It's all imported and sold here based on the black market exchange rate, not the official one. Because if you divide prices by 300 or 320, you get the actual price.
Can we?
Oh, just like that?
This one. A small bottle of San Pellegrino water costs 650 Cuban pesos.
At the rate of 320.
Yes, at the rate of 320, that's $2. $2.
If a government worker will come here, like the one we just saw, this would cost him a third of his monthly salary. Got it? That's what I always point out.
And what is the official exchange rate?
It's 125.
125. So officially it's almost $5, but on the black market it's 2, which is quite normal. Yeah, and here you can see all kinds of foreign goods. Yogurts for 225. There's even some wine, water, Coca-Cola, the real one, 360 pesos per can.
Can you give us a moment, please?
What?
I came here in 1990.
Yes.
Now we're paying 650 pesos for your bottle of water. Back in 1990, that was my 2-month salary.
Cubans face shortages not only in stores but also at the markets. The variety of goods here is practically non-existent. The problem isn't just that food is expensive, it's that it's nowhere to be found. We're currently at what's considered one of the best markets in the capital, and even here, the selection is very limited, mostly just seasonal vegetables, sweet potatoes, bananas, lemons, guava, mango, some onions, things like that. For example, you won't find potatoes here at the market at all. Potatoes are sold as a delicacy at the exit of this market, and they cost around $10. Most people can't afford them, so they're rarely bought. There's a huge issue with fruits, berries, and vegetables. For instance, there are no eggplants, barely any bell peppers, the kind we're used to, very few leafy greens. Basically, if it doesn't grow here, you simply won't find it. And that's a bit strange because individuals can import whatever they want into Cuba. So why don't they bring in food products from, say, Peru to sell at the markets? It's unclear. Apparently, it's more profitable to bring in medicine, clothing, and other items. So food hasn't made the list yet. And tomatoes, yes, tomatoes. One of those foods you're used to seeing everywhere, always available, even in the most remote villages. They've learned to grow them year-round in greenhouses all over the world. It's not a problem. But in Cuba, there are no tomatoes. Right now it's off-season, so if tomatoes are available, they're green, awful-looking, and the cost 800 pesos. In Cuba, it's...
You see, Jamaican people, they always complain. They're very ungrateful. And when they complain, say life hard, lightning for strike them. Then to frig up. When you look upon the reality of Cuba, when you look where people in my face, see, and them now rise up, they orderly. See? Jamaica, we can buy oxtail, we can buy a piece of pork, we can buy beef, we can buy salt mackerel. Anything you can want in Jamaica today, you can buy. Or even poor set of people can buy. See? And look for the reality of Cuban them. And that we averted by getting rid of Michael Manley. Anyhow, we never get rid of Michael Manley when we did in 1980. This would have been Jamaica's reality. 1 billion% certain of it.
Really easy to get confused about exchange rates. There are at least 3: the official rate, the bank rate, and the black market rate. The official rate, $1 equals 24 pesos. It has nothing to do with reality. Yet Google still converts money using it. It's like the old Soviet rate of 60 kopecks per dollar. You simply can't exchange currency at that rate. You can pay by card at the bank rate. But it's better to go to the black market. Whew, folks, it's hot out here. Now let me tell you about my experience exchanging money on the black market. In Cuba, you can't avoid the black market, especially when it comes to currency exchange. Bring your US dollars with you because cash dollars can be exchanged for pesos at a very favorable rate. Of course, you can pay with card, but sometimes it's much better to exchange your dollars on the black market and use those pesos to shop. The bank rate is around 120 pesos to the dollar, but I just exchanged at 310. They say it's against the law and you can go to prison for it. Living in Cuba is incredibly hard. Want to fix your car? You need to find the parts, planning to build a house. You need to find construction materials, want to cook a meal. You need to somehow get the ingredients. Everything has to be hunted down. What kind of economic development can we talk about for Cuba and its people if even their free time and work time is spent trying to find the most basic things, standing in lines or bargaining on the black market? In fact, you can't imagine life in Cuba without the black market. You can bring almost unlimited goods onto the island. That's why every international flight is packed. A Cuban who comes back from Peru or the US without a dozen suitcases full of food or electronics hasn't done it right. All of that ends up circulating through the country. Any enterprising Cuban is sure to have a home stock room full of random stuff for sale, but why can't you buy any of in the official currency stores? Why everything is hidden in apartments? First, it's more expensive in stores due to rent, bribes, and so on. Second, Cuba still runs on a barter system.
The younger generation has figured it out. They buy goods through special catalogs online, set up specifically for Cuba. Food, clothes, electronics from the US. And you place the order through some savvy young folks who really know how to work this business. Many of them have been operating on Bitcoin for a long time. You can order anything through them, and they'll deliver it to you. But of course, it'll cost 3 times as much.
In Cuba, it's not just iPhones that people have to hunt down. Even medicine is hard to find, and yet the island was once famous for its healthcare system. Huge amounts of money were invested into medicine. Advanced medications for their time were developed and produced here. Large research institutes operated across the country. But all of that is in the past. There are doctors in Cuba, but no medicine. One look at the pharmacy shelves, and you feel like crying. Hospitals don't have even the most basic medicines. They have to be brought in from abroad, and you can't even buy them in corporate stores. Everything comes through the black market.
These days, the problem isn't
All of them are something that will happen. Government not realize them have to just, move to one position where they can help the people them. See? Remember, say Cuba have some of the best doctor them in the world, but practice make perfect. If they stop for practice proper medicine, if they can't reach proper medicine, if they can't get proper equipment, all of that will go gone by the wayside, my people. See?
bad medicine. The problem is bad supply. There are no medications. We used to have a pharmaceutical industry. Why don't we anymore? Because the raw materials stopped coming in. Why does this happen not only in the pharmaceutical sector, but also in food production? We used and other things too. But the supply chain for raw materials stopped. It remains very hard to this day, not even counting construction materials or furniture. And now we're approaching a pharmacy. When you're seriously ill and need to see a doctor, you go to a clinic, and the doctor gives you a prescription. You're supposed to come here with that prescription. These are prescription-only pharmacies.
Good morning to my beautiful wife. Good morning, baby.
We're looking at the shelves, and they're empty.
Yeah, there's nothing. Just a couple of jars.
The situation right now is extremely difficult. It's not just about medications. It's also about surgeries. Doctors can't perform surgery because the hospital lacks the required medications. Before the surgery, the surgeon gives you a list of medications you need to find on your own before they can operate.
And only then can you get treatment.
Not just treatment, but even surgery. Some surgeries could be urgent, some can wait, but some can't. That's also one of the reasons mortality is rising. People don't survive, simply because there are no medications.
So if you don't have money, no one will treat you?
It's not about the money. Our healthcare is free.
But the doctor still gives you a list of meds to find. Means if you can't get them, you die.
That's right.
Officially, the average salary in Cuba is less than 5,000 pesos, and clearly no Cuban can survive on that alone. People jump at any chance to earn. If you have a car, you become a taxi driver. Buy cigars with ration coupons, resell them on the street. At the same time, you might tutor or bring in goods from the US to make extra cash. Cubans blame both their government and American sanctions for the low standard of living.
When will Americans understand that they're oppressing Cubans? When there's an American president who actually feels sympathy for Latin America, that's when the blockade will end.
So tonight, my people, we're going to go through tonight. When we do live tonight, we're going to go through what the reason for the blockade. Why is there a blockade? See? And what is the blockade about? So we'll do that tonight. People may look on car from 1960, 1950. May look on Lada, may look on all kind of something. You know, newer cars are there, you know, but you know, Cuba really a struggle, my people, really. Father Dennis, big up yourself.
The real symbol of Havana is its vintage cars. Before the revolution, ships brought Chevrolets, Fords, and Cadillacs to Cuba. They're still driving through the city streets today, although most likely the only original part left is the polished body. Inside, these cars feel Frankensteins, patched together from Soviet cars, sometimes even tractors or engines taken from diesel generators. Aside from the American cars, the island is full of Zhigulis, Moskviches, old Peugeots, and Fiats. Official shipments of new cars to Cuba never actually stopped. It's just that all sales go through the state-run conglomerates, and they set astronomical prices. New vehicles rarely make it into the country, and mostly via government contracts. Old cars are insanely expensive too. A worn-out Moskvich can cost you $5,000 to $10,000, and a running American classic might go for as much as $30,000. A decent foreign-made car, as you can imagine, will cost much more. Cars here are so valuable that one of the most revered deities in Cuba is Elegua, the Santeria god of roads. He wards off thieves and protects from accidents. To honor him, locals sometimes paint their car in black and red or hang a creepy little doll by the rear window. So if you see one, that's their version of an anti-theft alarm.
Hey, what kind of car is this?
It's a Chevrolet Buick.
But the engine is from a Nissan, right?
Yeah, it's from a Nissan.
So I'm right in thinking that with all these old cars, there's nothing original left except the body?
Well, there are people who still have them in factory condition. In this one, almost everything inside is original.
How much would a car like this cost?
20 or 25,000.
Do they restore these cars to drive tourists around or to sell them?
I'm a taxi driver. I need it for work, for working with clients.
But for $20,000, you could buy a reliable Japanese car. Why deal with this old stuff instead of just buying something dependable and doing taxi work in that?
Because a car like this will always be a classic, and we have a tradition of driving tourists in these cars.
I wanted to see how life is for children in Cuba. So I traveled to the town of Pinar del Rio, and here we have a school, a very unusual school. Look at this panel housing district. Again, notice how Soviet it feels. Soviet urban planning norms, these concrete apartment blocks, like anthills. It's all so gray, not at all the kind of Cuban architecture we're used to. Irina, who has worked here for many years, gave me a tour of the school.
This is a school for grades 1 through 6, and they also offer preschool education here. So kids study here. 2 years ago, the school underwent some major structural changes. See, there are no windows, and many doors are missing. Why? Because a powerful hurricane hit, and there's no funds to fix it all.
So it's still like this. Let's go.
It's still like this, yeah.
So the hurricane destroyed it?
Well, till the state you see now.
So the classroom doors, whatever they have, that's what they use, just locked with little latches.
Yeah,
Here we have the mandatory portrait of Che Guevara.
obviously Che Guevara. This is the cafeteria.
The cafeteria. You can just walk into the cafeteria. There are no windows or anything.
No, and that's all there is.
Cafeteria, I see.
But the kids still study here.
Well, I get that they study.
The kids study, the process goes on. Like nothing happened, the process continues.
And this is the bathroom. Judging by the smell, the bathroom doesn't work and isn't cleaned.
Yeah,
This is a school bathroom. And what about the institute where you teach? Does it look better?
yeah, it's better there. But look, I used to work here.
At this school?
Yes.
What did you do?
I worked here as a computer science teacher. Look, where there's no window. That used to be the computer lab. Now there's nothing. We used to have 2 computer labs, 2 whole labs.
And now they're gone?
There's only 1 left. But of course, that's not...
So for people that want to see visually, see visuals, my people, because it's very terrible. Just type in a YouTube, Cuba is not a paradise, and it will come up and it will say poverty, shortage, and something else. I can't see what else to say, but just type in Cuba is not a paradise, and then you will get to see it visually. So when we're done with the live, you can go watch it for yourself and see it is in deplorable condition, my people. See? That is the reality that Jamaica would have faced under Michael Manley.
Enough for such a big school. There's also an after-school program. Kids stay there and wait for their parents.
So it's like a supervised waiting area?
Yes, right.
So no one works with them?
No, they do until 4:30. After 4:30, they just stay by themselves at school. The teacher sits there with them, and they wait for their parents.
So these are just doors made from whatever junk they could find, right?
Yeah, what else do they have left? Here's the same thing, basically. This is the computer lab. See the door here?
A stronger door here to prevent theft.
Of course.
How many years have you worked in Cuba?
8. I worked here for 8 years.
No, I mean in total your whole work experience in Cuba.
22 years.
And what kind of pension will you get?
200 pesos.
Pesos, right? I see.
And that's because they raised it.
So that's considered a good pension?
It's a good one now because they raised salaries. So now, based on the new salary scale, but I know people who worked for 30, even 35 years, and their pension is 1,500.
I went to the city of Cienfuegos. It's called the Pearl of the South. And it really...
By the way, 1,400 pesos, I believe that is $4.60. 4 United States $60. So, this is the reality of the Cuban people.
It does have a beautiful historic center. I took a walk there with a Cuban woman named Anna. What's this place? Why are people standing here?
It's a bank.
A bank?
Yes, this is a bank. Withdrawing money from a bank is really hard right now. Sometimes the cashier doesn't have any cash. So people have to wait in line.
Cash in pesos?
In Cuban pesos.
Got it. And do they have bank cards?
Yes, they do provide cards.
And people withdraw money with them?
But in most cases, the cashiers don't have any cash.
Why not?
That's a very good question. Maybe right now they don't have electricity, so the system is slow. Life here is pretty hard.
Got it. And what are these tracks for? Trams?
Yes, they were for trams, but they don't run anymore.
Can you tell me what the average salary is in Cuba?
A good average salary is around 5,000 Cuban pesos.
5,000 Cuban pesos is 50 United States dollars for the month. So imagine you're there, Jamaica, and I earn 15 United States dollars for a month. There was a time when Jamaica was like that, under the pian. See? But we are do better now.
It's considered decent.
When I ask people about their wages, for example, a police officer told me he earns 10,000 Cuban pesos.
10,000?
Yes, 10,000. A teacher makes 5 or 10,000.
Yes, that's right.
And the average pension is about 10,000. But that's not enough to live on. You can't survive on 10,000.
You can live, but the quality of life is poor. Because electricity is very expensive now. And everything's expensive, including food.
How much does someone from the middle class need, for example?
I think a middle-class person...
You, for example, would you say you belong to the middle class?
Yes, I'd say I do, or I hope I do. You need around $200 a month.
$200?
Yes, around that much.
But with official salaries being $10 to $15, how does someone make 200? What do they have to do?
Well, my case is different. I'm a musician, and I get paid per concert. I don't have a monthly salary. So the more I work, the more I earn. I also have side gigs. I can work as a taxi driver or a delivery person. I also help with tourist registration and get paid extra money for that.
Cuba has one of the oldest railway systems in the world. The first section of track was laid back in 1837, but the railway here still seems to function by 19th century standards. And the Cienfuegos train station is the best proof of that. This is the first time I've seen a train with a concrete floor. They literally poured concrete onto the floor. Oh, what the fuck? I've never seen anything like this before. They actually poured concrete on the floor. I've seen a lot of different trains, but this is just complete and utter bullshit. This is a highly Cuban train. Now they'll get offended and say I'm undermining all the revolutionary values. I mean, they were supposed to be building some bright future here, but they ended up building some fucked up disaster. No, really, if you filmed this and showed it somewhere, say, Varlamov, you just found some cheap movie props that don't even look like a train. Why are you lying to us? But this train is actually departing for Santo Domingo today. These benches I'm sitting on. When you sit on them, your knees are practically at your chest, and everything is just poured with concrete. It's a mess. I honestly can't even process that this is a train. I know it's not nice to mock this, but just look at how the train door is made. The door is... They cut a notch into the concrete floor just so the door can open. Interestingly, some train cars are used as homes, and it's not clear who lives in them. There are bunk beds inside, and people live in these cars. I get the feeling that some of these trains don't even move. I spoke with some Cubans inside one of the cars. Turns out they're not passengers or homeless people. They live and work here. So basically, this is how the locomotive crew lives. They've got a locomotive, and next to it, another car that they've converted into a living space. It's a real little home with bunks, sleeping spots, even a kitchen with a gas tank. There's electricity from who knows where. They live in these brutal and pretty uncomfortable conditions, just waiting for their shift. They lie there and wait. Their salary is 10,000 pesos. That's just over $30 a month, which by local standards isn't that bad. The former grandeur of Cienfuegos is now only hinted at by the beautiful facades. The city's previous economic engine, the sugar industry, is going through hard times. Today, it's one of the most crisis-hit sectors of the Cuban economy. Fuel shortages, lack of transport, and funding cuts all play a role. In 2023, a record low of 350,000 tons of raw sugar was harvested. For comparison, during the peak in the 1980s, production reached up to 7 million tons. In the 21st century, it's not planters or aristocrats who run the city, but bureaucrats. A few months ago, dissident Yamil Cuellar released an investigation titled The Cienfuegos Mafia. It details criminal schemes involving the regional governor and even President Miguel Diaz-Canel himself. And of course, corruption in Cuba is still corruption. Officials might demolish an entire historic neighborhood, then hand out the reconstruction contracts to themselves. Or they might have stakes in the tourism industry. According to the journalist, the luxurious Palacio de Valle is managed by none other than the country's prime minister, Manuel Marrero Cruz. Even the lowest-ranking members of the Cienfuegos Mafia make decent money from business and live in mansions. After the accusations were made, the governor of Cienfuegos resigned. Several other officials followed. But according to locals, nothing has really changed. Their buddies just took over their posts. For many Cubans, tourism remains the best way to earn a living. To understand it better, I went to the Viñales Valley. Over 500,000 tourists visit the valley each year, while the local population is just 30,000. Around 80% of them rely on income from tourism. Yet the region still lacks proper infrastructure. There are only a couple of hotels for the entire area, and even those are of questionable quality. The main accommodation option is guest houses, or so-called casas particulares. In 1997, the government allowed Cubans to rent out rooms in their homes. This greatly boosted the development of tourism and the economy overall. For many, it became their main, if not only, source of income. On the central avenue of charming colonial Viñales, rental signs are everywhere. And in 2011, locals were finally allowed to run private businesses. The valley saw the opening of cozy restaurants, shops, and ranches offering horseback rides. And now we're heading to visit a local resident and see what a room in this beautiful valley looks like. This is out rooms since 2013. A standard room costs $25 per night. According to the owner, business was slowly picking up, but then the pandemic hit. COVID is gone, but the problems remain.
We're going through a global crisis right now, and occupancy is low. I think our rooms are occupied only about 10 to 15% of the time each month.
What issues are you facing now? We arrived and there was no electricity. How often does that happen?
Yeah, that happens all the time. Basically every day, it's directly tied to the fuel shortage. We don't have the spare parts for power plants. The country has no access to the tools needed for repairs or the fuel to maintain power supply.
Are there food shortages?
Oh yes. Food is a big problem. First of all, prices are extremely high. Unfortunately, our business doesn't bring in enough income to afford those prices. Sometimes food just isn't available, and when it is, it's super expensive.
Are there specific shortages, products you just can't find, and you go to another city or wait in lines to get them?
We use a lot of agricultural products in our meals, and they're just not available. When they do appear, you have to wait in enormous lines to buy at least something.
Okay, and if you need tomatoes, where do you get them?
You have to leave our district, or wait for someone to bring them in. But then the price is outrageous.
Looking at all this is endlessly heartbreaking. Because again, this is a country with enormous potential. The potential is right here. I mean, look, I've been walking down this boulevard and the buildings are magnificent. Any city would envy the beauty of Havana and other Cuban towns. The nature is stunning, the climate is mild. It's like a dream. Everything should be wonderful. But it's all under, I don't even know what to call it, under some sort of ideological occupation. They've driven it to such a state that it's just complete fucking madness. But the most surprising thing I wanted to talk about is the way locals feel about everything that's going on. You won't find a single Cuban today who's genuinely happy or who will tell you everything's great, we're doing fine, and we're proud of our simple Cuban happiness. At the first opportunity, everyone tries to leave for someplace better. Most of them head to the United States because it's close and has a large Cuban diaspora. Some go to Mexico or other Latin American countries, where the language barrier is easier. People are fleeing Cuba. It's honestly a catastrophe. The most talented, driven, and entrepreneurial people, they're all leaving. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe.
So that my people. You still have Jamaicans today. We are talking about Cuba is this and Cuba is that and Viva Revolution and all kind of bullshit. People them are get up from Cuba, hungry. Cuba is crumbling and the government is sitting there, still stuck up on their ideology and now give up on it. And the people them are dead and they must suffer because of one set of family ideology. That is what would have happened to Jamaica had Michael Manley succeeded. Jamaica better thank God Almighty for Edward Seaga. This is why we never reach the reality here. Honest to God. See? So all of who we are pian and love that. If we don't love sufferation, who will eat over Cuba, we can migrate go over there. And we don't have to worry. If I get out and live in and sufferation, we can go over Cuba and we don't need no visa to go over there. And we can left Jamaica, give rest away, we develop it. Anyway, my people, may I get ready to go to work. I just wanted you guys to see the reality of the Cuban people this morning. And tonight we will go through the embargo and what is the embargo and why. See? So, me soon look more. Big up on yourself. Much love. Shower liberates.